Hello everybody, it is currently raining, so I'm going to try to get this intro pretty quickly, but today we're going to be making 8 different components that you can mix and match to make meals however you want to. Those 8 components are 3 proteins, chicken, pork, and fish, 2 vegetables, broccoli and Brussels sprouts, and 3 sauces, barbecue, teriyaki, and peppercorn. If you want to pause the video here and just admire the art, I mean, that's your prerogative, but there's not really much to talk about, so why don't we just get right into cooking.
Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is start off our protein, and for this I have a boneless pork chop, a boneless skinless chicken breast, and a fillet of tilapia. Prep for this is pretty easy, but it's gonna depend on how you're gonna be cooking it. I'm going to show you 2 ways to cook it, and you can cook any of these 3 either way. The first way is gonna be baking, and I'm going to be baking the chicken breast and the tilapia, and the second way is gonna be pan frying, and I'm gonna be doing that for the pork chop. So for the 2 I'm going to be baking, the first thing I'm going to do is drizzle on a little bit of olive oil and rub it in. Then I'm just going to put some salt and pepper on and do the same thing for the other side. And for the pork chop that we're going to be pan frying, I'm just going to salt and pepper both sides, and that is it. The prep was nice and easy, so now you can go ahead and throw the things you're going to be baking into the oven. The fish and the chicken are going into the oven at 350, and the fish is going to take about 10 to 12 minutes to cook, and the chicken is going to take about 30 minutes to cook. If you're going to be cooking the pork in the oven too, it's going to depend on how thick your cut is for the time you're going to be cooking it, but for a thicker cut like this, it'd probably be around 20 to 25 minutes. But since we're cooking the pork in a pan, we're going to go ahead and preheat some olive oil in one of our pans over medium-high heat. Then once there's wisps of smoke coming off of it, we're going to go ahead and throw it in, and we're going to cook it on one side for about 4 to 5 minutes before flipping, and do the same exact thing for the other side. And that is all. The fish and the chicken are going to come out a little bit later, but the pork chop is done. So now we're going to go ahead and move into our first sauce that we're going to be making for today. This sauce is going to be a peppercorn sauce, and to make it, if you are making either chicken or pork in a pan, you can go ahead and use the same pan. But if you're pan cooking fish, you probably either want to clean out that pan or use a different pan because it might mess with the flavor a little bit. But since I was cooking pork, I'm just going to go ahead and throw in 2 tablespoons of butter into the pan, and then once that is nice and melted, I'm going to slowly incorporate 2 tablespoons of flour into it. Once the flour is incorporated and you've let it sit over the heat for about a minute or 2 to burn off the raw flour flavor, go ahead and dump in about 1.5 cups of beef broth or beef bouillon mixed in room temperature to warm water. And your beef bouillon, if you're going to be mixing it in, make sure it tastes approximately like normal beef broth would. But anyway, once you've mixed that in and worked out the clumps that are going to be formed, go ahead and dump in about 1/2 cup of heavy cream. I used milk here because I figured it couldn't be that much different, but trust me, it really does make a big difference. The flavor was right about where I wanted it to be, but the texture was a whole world of difference away from what a normal peppercorn sauce would be. So don't try to get fancy here, just buy some heavy cream and use that. Trust me, it'll work a lot better than just using milk. But anyway, once you got your heavy cream in, go ahead and adjust your pepper grinder if you can so that it is spitting out pretty big chunks of pepper, and go ahead and crack in a whole bunch of it. It's called peppercorn sauce for a reason, so make sure you don't skip out on this. Then once you got all your pepper in, go ahead and taste for salt and adjust as needed, and your sauce is done. Now you have a super tasty pan sauce that can go with any of these 3. And now I know we're going a little bit out of order here, but we're going to be doing our vegetables next. We're going to be doing 2 vegetables, but they are cooked the exact same way. For the broccoli, just cut off the florets and cut them into bite-sized pieces. Then if you want to get every single bit out of your broccoli that you can, cut off the greener stems. Those should be good as is. And for the very light white stem, go ahead and peel it and then just chop it into bite-sized pieces too, and that should be good to go. For the Brussels sprouts, we're going to be chopping off the bottom about 1/8 of an inch or so because it's usually pretty tough. And then the smaller ones that are already bite-sized are ready to go, and the bigger ones chop into half or quarters as necessary to get them into bite-sized pieces too. When you're done with either one, you can go ahead and throw it onto a baking sheet. Then all we gotta do is drizzle over some olive oil and add some salt and pepper, and the prep for the veggies is done. We're gonna be baking these at 400 for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'd check at about 10 minutes, and if they're starting to get some nice color on the top, you can pull them then. And if they aren't quite browning on the top yet, then don't worry, it's just gonna take a couple more minutes and you'll be done. Now that we have 3 proteins, 2 vegetables, and 1 sauce done, the only thing left is 2 more sauces. The first of the 2 sauces we're going to be making is a simple barbecue sauce. For this, we're using 3 parts ketchup to 3 parts brown sugar to 1 part vinegar. Then just add in a couple dashes of Worcestershire sauce and hot sauce and set it over medium-low heat. We're not trying to boil it or reduce it or anything fancy like that. We're just trying to heat it up enough so we can dissolve all the brown sugar into the sauce. And once you get that done, your barbecue sauce is ready to go. As is, this sauce tasted like pretty much any fast food restaurant's barbecue sauce, but it was a little bit too sweet for my taste, so I added just a little bit more vinegar and it came out beautiful. Next, I'm going to be sharing with you my family's super secret teriyaki sauce recipe that is sure to blow anybody away. It's super complex, so make sure to follow closely. The ingredients are 1 part brown sugar to 1 part soy sauce, and then just throw in a little bit of crushed peeled garlic and a few slices of ginger depending on how much sauce you're going to be making. And to finish it off, we're going to be adding just a touch of citrus. For this much sauce, I used just enough to cover the bottom of this cap of lemon juice, and then I went ahead and mixed it all together, and well, that's it. 5 ingredients and you have a great teriyaki sauce. The only thing left to do is to set this on medium-low heat and stir it occasionally for about 10 minutes so you can let the garlic and the ginger seep into the sauce. And that's it. Sauce is done. Okay, I may have lied about it being a super complex sauce. It's honestly one of the easier sauces you can make. But I did not lie about it being very tasty. You're gonna have to trust me on that one. And now we've made 3 proteins, 3 sauces, and 2 vegetables. Any of the sauces go with any of the proteins. And then on top of that, you can cook all the proteins 2 different ways to serve with either of the 2 vegetables. So if my math are serving me correctly, this is 36 different meals you can make with these components right here. All the stuff was really tasty. I especially like baking chicken breasts because it ensures they'll stay nice and juicy. Other than that, feel free to mix and match however you want. Use the sauces for other foods. Make the vegetables with other meals. Really just use this and keep it in your arsenal of recipes to use however you want. So with that, I'm signing off. I'll have the recipes up either now or in a little bit. If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, or subscribe if you want to. Only if you want to. It's free though, so maybe consider doing it. Helps me out. I like it when you guys do that. But for now, peace out, and I hope to see you in the next one.